Hi friends, welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is Angular 17 full tutorial series for absolute beginners as well as expert developers joining us from previous versions of Angular. This is part 32 of the series. Today we are going to learn and implement a custom directive. We are learning about directives. I started with the introduction of directives. We learned about structural directive. In the last episode we learned about attribute directive. Today we are going to learn about custom directive. If you haven't checked out the first awesome 31 episodes, make sure that you check them out in order to learn and master Angular 17 with me. Today we are learning about custom directives. So just like directives, we can create custom directives. So what is a directive? It can add custom behavior to elements in the Angular application. They are the core feature of Angular. If you take an example of a component or anything, those are all directives basically. So custom directives, which are broadly categorized like attribute, structural and components, right? We have already covered all of these three, but today we are going to go ahead and create a custom directive. Let's go ahead and start with the coding. Remember, custom directives are nothing but they are classes that add custom behavior to elements in Angular application. That's a simple definition I can give you. All right, come back to coding. We are building a crew management system, but we will start end-to-end coding full-fledged in just a bit. First, I want to get all your concepts in place. So today we are learning about custom directive. Let me bring up the notes. If we make any, I can share it with you here. All right. So today we are learning about episode 32. We are learning about custom directives. Alrighty, let's fire this up. Alright, so number one, custom directives are classes to add custom behavior to elements, right? Behavior slash functionality to elements. That's what I can tell you simple way. Alright, so what are we going to implement? Let's do a simple thing which will fire up say ng generate directive. That's what you will write to generate a directive. Ng space g, which is for generate, space what are you trying to generate, a directive, and space name of the directive. Okay, so let's call it highlight, and what we'll do is we'll create a custom directive through which we can highlight any element when we hover on it. Alright, so now that we have created the directive, you can see it inside the project folder here, highlight directive. This is what it has generated, a directive with selector and standalone is true. Okay, in Angular 17 onwards, all directives are standalone, including components and everything. Alright, so this is a simple we have generated. Now let's go ahead and add some functionality to it. Okay, and what are we going to do? We are going to add this directive, and on mouse over we will highlight, on mouse out we'll reset the color. Okay, let's say take a simple example. So let's get started. The first thing I'll do is I'm going to say that I'm going to provide an input color, so I'm going to use input. And even if you are not following this input for now, please do check out my previous tutorial that I've covered. I've covered this in detail. Initially I'm initializing it with empty value. Let's import it. That's the beauty of this editor, that it will tell you to do a quick import. So you can see here input has been imported from Angular core. The next thing we'll do is we'll need a ref. So I'm going to say private and element and say element reference, because we'll need an element reference inside it. Do a console log, and you can say inside the custom directive. Perfect. Now all I'm doing here is just a constructor. I've got input. I'm saying that I will provide an input color. Alright. Now the next we'll also need is a host listener, because we are going to do on mouse over and mouse out. So I'm going to say mouse enter. That's the event. And on mouse enter, what should happen is what we will declare here. Similarly, you can copy or you can retype it and say host listener on mouse out, what should happen? That is mouse enter and mouse leave. So on mouse leave, these are the events that are I'm binding. On mouse enter, what should happen to the element? On mouse leave, what should happen? Last, what we'll do is we'll create a method and call it say private, mm, say highlight, and we'll pass a color which is of type string. Okay, and we'll be using element this dot l dot native element dot background color, just like how you change um, any if you are comfortable or know JavaScript, this is how you will refer and get an element. So using reference, we are getting the element, native element, and changing its background color. This is wrong because we'll need style dot background color. All right, perfect. Now in the host listener, all we'll do is call this method this dot highlight and pass the highlight color, this dot highlight color. If there is no color passed, make it default to yellow. And on mouse leave, we'll say this dot highlight, um, give any color, or you can just reset it to empty, right? I'm not passing any color. That's it. So take an example now, take a look again what I've done. I have a directive, I'm passing a color. If the color is present, make it yellow. Use that color. If not, just put it to yellow. And I'm binding events here, which is mouse enter and mouse leave to this particular element. Whenever we do mouse over and mouse out, this method is called and the element's background color is changed. Simple as that. This is a custom directive. Now let's go ahead import this into our app component.ts. Because it's standalone, we need to import it from everywhere, right? So since it's a standalone, we need to import it in the imports array. Now in the app component, all we can do is just use a simple say p tag for now, and I'm going to say app highlight. This should be the same name from arc tutorials. Now see, this should be the same name of as the directive. So app highlight, h is caps. So yeah, that's perfect. And we are saying that we will pass an input to it. So let's do that. Highlight color, I think, yeah, equal to say light green, and let's fire our application ngserve. Okay, so our application is built without any errors. There are no errors, it's good. So let's go back here and localhost 4200. Now you can see on mouse over it's green, on mouse out it's white. Perfect. So this is a classic example of a directive. App highlight is the directive which I am using it, right? Now you can do anything and everything to an element using custom directive. This is one such example where now if I have multiple elements, I can use them as well, and I need not to pass a value always. Hello again from our tutorials. Now see, I'm not passing any color, so it's taking the default yellow. If I'm passing a color, it's green color, right? So sorry. So this is an example, classic example, where you can pass a input or you don't want to pass a color. We are defaulting it to yellow. All right. So that's all I would say. A simple example for you to learn custom directive. Extremely important, especially if you're working on any complex applications or enterprise based applications. You're bound to learn, bound to use custom directives. So now you will know next time when you see some attribute or some um, directive binded, you know where to look for it. You will know how to read that directive. All right. I hope it's clear. Please do let me know if you have any doubts or questions. I'll be more than happy to help you. As always, we'll continue our learning journey. If you like my work and tutorials, please do consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/arctutorials. In the next episode, we will learn about pipes. Very important concept, especially when you are building a templates. So join me in the next episode. We'll learn about Angular pipes. Thank you.